My name's William Eford, and I live in Beaverton, Oregon with my wife and my family. And on Friday, November 23rd, of 2018, it was the day after Thanksgiving. And I, like a lot of people in Oregon, was preparing to watch the Civil War game between the Ducks and the Beavers. And about an hour before the game, it started raining. No surprise, right? It started raining, and every November, one time every November, my gutters signaled to me that they need to be cleaned by overflowing. So before the game, I quickly got on my raincoat, got my ladder, went out and started cleaning my gutters. And I was almost finished, and I got to the back of my house on the first floor, and I was on a little giant type ladder, and I had it set up like an A-frame. And as I reached about 3 feet away from being finished, the ladder broke out from under me, and it went flat onto the ground. And I rode one side of it down to the ground, and I hit my head, I hit my head and got stitches, tore tendons, tweaked my back, got a lot of other bruises and just aches and pains. So ended up at the urgent care right before the game. Went over there, got 6 stitches, got my finger splinted up, a couple of other things, looked at it. And as we were leaving, the attending nurse at the urgent care said, "Hey, I'm gonna write you a CAT scan order, and I want you to go get a CT scan." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that. I mean, I've gotten stitches before, I've banged my head, whatever." And so I didn't think anything about it. Went home, watched the Civil War game, sat in the easy chair, and didn't think much of it. This was Friday. On the next Tuesday morning, I was on an airplane to Phoenix, sitting on an airplane with stitches, bright green Coban, and just went about my regular life. Didn't think anything else of it. Well, about 3 weeks later, I got a headache. And it was bad. It was a migraine type headache. I'd had headaches in the past, but I really hadn't had them for years. And so it started up, and I didn't think much of it, but it didn't go away. And the headache kept going and going. And after a week of migraine type symptoms, I thought to myself, maybe I should go get that CT scan. My wife actually talked me into going to get a CT scan. So I went in and got the scan, and you know what? It came back clean. But the headache persisted. So I'm going to make a long story short. This was in November. In January, after the new year, I traveled for business a lot. I was in a hotel room in Houston and had such debilitating migraine symptoms that I missed meetings. I didn't eat. I didn't drink. I didn't take medicine. I didn't have any medicine with me for a couple of days. And that's when I realized something was really wrong. And went back home and attempted to get in with some neurologists. And by the way, this is after I'd been back to the urgent care. They said it was a tension headache. Had gone into the emergency room a couple of times. They didn't know what was going on. I just kept getting prescribed drugs. And this went on, so I went back and tried to get into a standard neurologist appointment. This was in January, and the first opening was 3 months out, which is very disheartening. I mean, I felt like I had an emergency, but 3 months didn't seem like they thought it was very urgent to them. So we started putting a lot of hope into this neurological appointment. Well, the symptoms didn't get any better, and actually they got worse over the 3 months that I waited for the neurologist appointment to come up. I started experiencing extraordinary fatigue. I couldn't think. Computers, screens, lights, sound. I became sensitive to everything. I'm a very extroverted and sociable person, and I couldn't stand to be in crowds. Any kind of crowd noise, any kind of loud noise would just send me into a spiral, which was really unusual for me. It was very concerning for my family. Everybody became really oversensitive to, "How are you doing, Dad? Do you have a headache? Does this give you a headache?" It was rough. It was probably the roughest 6 months that ended up being of my life. The neurologist appointment finally came up, and it was so disappointing. They looked at the CT scan. They didn't even get the MRI from the imaging, but they looked at the notes and said that the MRI was clean, the CAT scan was clean. There were no presenting symptoms, is what they kept saying. I left that appointment with him recommending that they prescribe low dosages. They didn't know what was going on, so they were just going to prescribe low dosages of anti-seizure medications to me, potentially for the rest of my life. And I was like, this isn't going to work. These symptoms continued for another month. It was till Memorial Day. Now, you got to remember this time, I'm a heavy business traveler. I was starting to fear for my job, my livelihood, my family. I didn't know what was going on, and nobody could give me any answers. And one day I was sitting in front of my computer, just staring at the screen, barely able to work, barely able to think of what was going on, when I somehow was led to a link that led me to the website of Dr. Z and the rest of the folks at Northwest Neurology. When I went to the website and I looked on, I can't remember which specific page was, but it was a page about the symptoms that they treated, and they went down the list of the things I had. They said, we treat headaches, brain fog, fatigue, light and sound sensitivity. And I was like, check, 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 check. And I was like, I got to call these folks. And so I went onto the website, and the reason that I'm doing this is because one of the testimonials that I watched, one of the video testimonials, gave me the conviction, gave me the confidence that Dr. Z and the rest of the folks knew what they were doing and that they could treat me. I got to be honest, I had no other hope at that time. So I was really hanging by a thread, and that gave me hope. I called over, and Shanna was so delightful and so nice on the phone, and she also gave me confidence. Now, the great thing is that unfortunately, they're really busy. And at the time, there were no appointments to come in for the testing, the diagnostics. But she said, listen, I'll put you on a wait list, and as soon as I can get you in, I will. I was desperate. I wanted to get in that day. And she called me. She called me right before Memorial Day, and it was the Tuesday. She said, I've got an opening for you the Tuesday after Memorial Day. Can you do it? Yes, absolutely. So I came in, and they did the diagnostic testing, and it was unusual. It's nothing I'd ever been exposed to before, but the science made sense when Dr. Z and the rest of them explained it to me. And then they sat me down in a room, and they went over the results with me. And I don't want to go into the results, but one thing that they did share with me, which really just it gave me the confidence, is that when I asked Dr. Z straight out, I was like, listen, be honest with me. Tell me, am I going crazy? Is it just me? I mean, if it is, just tell me, and I'll do whatever. But and he said to me, and I'll remember it, he said, no, man, this is what we do every day. We deal with this every day. We can treat you. And I was like, all right, I have confidence so we can go forward with this. So we did, and we did the protocol. And I have to be honest with you, it didn't take long for the results to start showing up. And it was about 3 weeks later that this thing that I'd had that was fogging my life and was just, frankly, was destroying my life. About 3 weeks later, I knew that I was healing, because I woke up one morning and I thought about, I wonder what I could do today. And I started thinking of things that I could do, and I hadn't felt like that in months. I just wasn't able to. I had no energy. I would just basically wake up and try to get through that first cup of coffee and the second cup of coffee, and then see what would happen as the day would progress. I knew that things were looking up when I was able to think of things that I wanted to do that day. And you know what? It wasn't long thereafter that I really started to recover gradually. And today here it is. Today's August 27th, 2019. If I started on the Tuesday after Memorial Day of 2019, I feel 100%. Actually, I feel better than I did then. So if you're watching this, if you're looking through the website, if you're wondering, can this help? Can this work? I'll tell you, as a person who had no hope, yeah, come give it a shot. Come do the initial diagnostic and let them tell you that they can help you. If you're like me, you're probably at the point where you don't really have any other options. So come see Dr. Z, come see the rest of them. They're fantastic. They really take care of their patients around here. And I wish you the best. I wish you the best.